Now, infinite blue mana is a very useful thing to have. You could use it to cast Gadwick the Wizened, where X equals to however many cards are left in your deck and draw them all. Or maybe cast Blue Sun Zenith on either you or your opponent to make them draw all their cards, or you draw all yours. Infinite blue mana is a very useful thing to have, particularly if you're playing a mono blue deck. But how do you get it? And more importantly, how do you get it cheaply? Let's start out with some one-time enter the battlefield effects on creatures that allow you to untap lands when they come in. So that's Palinchron, Great Whale and Peregrine Drake are the first three that spring to mind. Now Palinchron and Great Whale, pretty much far too expensive for what we're trying to do here, but Peregrine Drake is less than $1 and seems right up our alley. So we have the beginning of our combo, that whenever Peregrine Drake comes into play, we can untap up to 5 lands. But as I said, that's a one-time effect, so how do we make it happen more than once? Well, again, 3 cards spring to mind: Illusionist's Stratagem, Ghostly Flicker and Displaced, all of which ostensibly are going to do the same thing in this combo. They're going to exile up to 2 cards and then bring them back again, which, with Peregrine Drake, will untap lands, which is nice. But again, these are one-time spells, so maybe there are ways that we can cast these spells multiple times. So again, I'm going to look to creatures for this final part of this combo, and again, 3 immediately spring to mind. It's a bit of a theme, isn't it? So there's Salvagers of Secrets, Archaeomancer and Mnemonic Wall, all of which cost between 4 and 5 mana, and all of which, when they enter the battlefield, allow you to return a target or instant sorcery from the graveyard to your hand. So now that I have the various pieces of my combo assembled in my deck, what does it actually do on the battlefield? So let us assume that I have Archaeomancer already in play. There he is, happy little fella. I tap 5 blue sources of mana, let's say they're islands, and bring in Peregrine Drake, untapping those 5 islands again. I then cast Displace from my hand after floating the 5 blue mana, netting me 2 remaining. Displace exiles Archaeomancer and Peregrine Drake, and then goes to my graveyard. Then the spell resolves, and Archaeomancer and Peregrine Drake come back in again, Peregrine Drake untapping 5 islands, 5 lands even, and Archaeomancer returning Displace back to my hand. And then I can do the whole thing all over again, each time gaining 2 sources of blue mana, until eventually I have an infinite amount. Now, it's all very well and good putting all of these in your deck, but of course you don't always luck out and draw into them. So maybe we need to look at some tutors to make sure that the deck's a little bit more dependable. Tutors, of course, have a reputation of being very expensive, and that is true. Things like Personal Tutor can fetch to quite a lot of money, as you can see on screen. However, there are some cheaper, more specific tutors that might be more useful here. Specifically, I'm going to look at 3. Again, it's a bit of a theme, and those are Noble Benefactor, Drift of Phantasms, and Vedalken Aethermage. Now, Vedalken Aethermage has a very odd ability, keyword, called Wizard Cycling. So for 3 mana, you can discard this card and search for a wizard in your library with any CMC, thankfully. Now, that includes Archaeomancer, so there's one of our pieces straight into our hand. Drift of Phantasm has Transmute 3. Now, as this series progresses, you're going to see a lot of the Transmute keyword because I love it. Because it is a very, very cheap tutor that allows me to go and get exactly what I want into my hand. In this case, that'll be Displace, because Transmute 3 allows me to get a 3 CMC spell. Displace is a 3 CMC spell. Peregrine Drake is a little tricky as a 5 CMC creature, but I am a big fan of Noble Benefactor. So Noble Benefactor means that when it dies, everyone can go through their library and search for any one card and put that into your hands. Now, yes, that does give all of my opponents a tutor as well, but I'm the one that needs it, and I'm the one that hopefully is going to get the most benefit out of it. Lastly, if you're feeling particularly bold, or if your meta doesn't run a great deal of counterspells or enchantment removals, there is Parallel Thoughts, which allows you to remove 7 cards from your library, put them into a separate library, and then whenever you draw a card, you can just draw from them. So you can, if you like, just grab all of the pieces, put them in a separate pile, and draw from them every single time you draw a card. Your meta will soon learn that counterspells and enchantment removal is probably a good thing, but in the meantime, there we go, nice and simple for you, and a very cheap tutor to boot. So there you are, infinite blue mana. Now, if you'd like to see more of these, then don't forget to like and subscribe, and equally if these are a combo that you'd like me to cover, please feel free to leave a comment in the doobly-doo down below.